Monday, August 25th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich, 1:31 California time, a little after the close, traditional time, 1 o'clock. We have a little bit of a dip today after a whopping sharp rally by surprise on Friday because of the Fed hinting, indicating, suggesting that they're going to lower rates some ambiguous amount in September, which is, of course, next week, starting September. So the market has now built into it that expectation. And what have we got? A challenge of the highs made only a week or so earlier. So a potential minor double top, but very small, not a big deal. At least it should go down more if you get below Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's lows, stay that way, and at least challenge 236 in the E-mini. That is going to be a lot more significant because it is testing a series of lows July up to August 1st. And that level was approximately the top of the market back in November, January, February. So it is a pretty profound support and resistance area. In other words, we need to maintain 62.37 or higher on a closing basis to stay longer term bullish, which I do think is going to get challenged and broken soon. But I'm not getting what I'm expecting. I didn't expect that rally yesterday. Throw me off balance. No higher high today. A little bit lower close doesn't do much for me. At least it's heading in the right direction, but not I got to get below the lows of late last week. Next. Dropping off late in the day, a bit, big deal. And a very small doji, slightly lower close. S&P, double top possibilities, but neither one, E-mini or the SPY, is overbought. But, just a moment, SPY 5-minute chart, dropping off in the last 5 minutes fairly quickly. Okay, the QQQ is not anywhere close to making a new high, like the spider and the E-mini. It could have a little shoulder high here on Friday, today included. The next 2 days are possible for timing purposes to make a slight higher high, almost the same as Friday, if not a little tiny bit higher. And then if we have some kind of bearish activity, I'd be very quick to bring up what I'm going to show you right now is the possible neckline. That is not very large. That's a 1-month formation. Normally not a big deal. But it could start something much larger. It's not finished. The last shoulder isn't there yet. It's around where it should be, when it should be. So we'll see if it starts to go sideways to lower. And it dropped off on the close. The NASDAQ futures contract has the same formation, maybe. And I'll draw on the neckline at this point, right off of support oversold and off the low that we made on Wednesday and Friday. Good. Timing's about right. Prices could be a little bit higher next couple of days. Let's see. Next, just got the 5-minute chart dropping off late in the day. The YM, although it jumped into new high ground, it is still not above the November, January, February highs and hit resistance and got overbought Friday and dribbled off a bit today. Again, I need to close below last week's lows and then below the low made at the beginning of the month of August 1st. That's going to be a lot more bearish if we can get down there. Next, YM selling off a little late. Now the Russell, new highs, still a resistance area and a pretty profound one at this point. Last week I put a line in here. Starts right about there. Cross some highs, exact, lows approximately, highs very exact, and here we are again, right on that line. Friday, and then dropped off today. could be backing off, overbought in resistance area and at a resistance level. Next, just selling off a little late in the day. Actually, it didn't go anywhere to begin with, and then sold off steady as she goes later in the day. Okay, bounce. Doji, a little higher close. I am a little perplexed on interest rates. I do expect this to end up being some kind of a major long-term bottom, but for a little while, I'm expecting sideways to lower. So today we closed very slightly lower on the Doji. 10-year notes is the same story, basically, although it has some support underneath the market that it already has bounced off of during last week, basically. I don't expect the bounce to go very far. I expect it to come back to support and start breaking below support. Maybe this trend line will be important. Right now, I'm not sure. I just thought I'd draw it in. Now, crude. A little more rally off of oversold and support. I don't think it's going to go very far. We're not overbought yet. Maybe toward this same price levels we're at the end of July. Why not? 68 ballpark. I'm not very confident about that, frankly. Now, natural gas has been doing great on a head and shoulder top that I detailed like crazy before it broke out, before the last shoulder, blah, 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 blah. So we are somewhere close to 50%, not quite that far down, to the minimum downside objective, which is 1.115, give or take a little. And it had a little bit higher close today. I don't expect any major rallies. I don't expect them to last any length of time. And I'm looking for significantly lower natural gas over the next few months. We have a little rally on heating oil. Again, getting close to overbought. Resistance is a little bit above. I don't think it's going to go very far. And it looks to me like it's getting caught between the rock and a hard spot. Next, we got gold, silver, platinum, copper. Well, rock and hard spot continues. Resistance above has stopped it. Support below has held it. And we're right in the middle of it. Pick one, up or down. Next, silver. A little lower close, no big deal. Kind of looks like it's trying to have a top formation in here. I'm not super sure about that. But from here, sideways to lower, was going to perk my interest a lot. I see I've already drawn in a hypothetical neckline. So, something to watch. Platinum, nah. Sideways, resistance above. I think you're going to see new lows fairly soon. High-grade copper, just can't seem to muster any strength. Resistance above the market will stop it again, I think. And today's high was at the beginning of it again. So, sideways to lower, copper. So now the grain complexes has started me thinking about long-term major bottoms in the group beans, oil, meal, corn, wheat. So we had a bullish engulfing. It worked great for a couple of days. A bearish engulfing did not work at all. It hit support, held, it turned around, made new highs. We made new highs again the next day. You have a short-term upside breakout. If you can close above this level, 1076, then you're highly likely to attack 1099, call it 11 flat. Closing above 11 flat is a long-term one-year breakout and would produce an upside objective of 1230 plus. Next, soybean oil. Shot up after a Thursday bullish engulfing ER buy signal right smack at the neckline. Classic textbook stuff. Shot up on Friday a lot, and today rested a little bit, coming back down slightly. Doji doesn't mean much. Expecting a test of resistance, maybe a little backing off at that point, then up to it and through it, and the minimum upside objective on this pattern that is still in force and has been ever since the initial breakout on June 13th. The upside objective on this should be, I've been saying 62.62. Yeah, call it 62 plus. Next, soybean meal. did reach up on Friday to a resistance area overbought, and therefore I expected a little bit of a sideways down. We did lose a little bit today, not much. The low was a tiny bit lower than Friday's low, no big deal. Maybe it'll sink off a little bit more, but the important thing here is I don't have any buy signals on this at the bottom or close to it. And resistance is stopping it just like a bear market would stop at this level. So if we start closing above 298.5, I'm going to like that. Then I've suggested would work up to the top of the resistance, and let's see what happens after that. I'll pull this over now so I don't have to do it later. And that would be about right there. Okay, good. Next, we've got, whoop, come on. Corn, bottom of the market, bullish engulfing ER buy signal, new high again today, new high close slightly higher. That bullish low bottom August 14th, beginning of this nice rally, which is continuing. I am looking for a move up to close the gap, 441-ish. Maybe we'll have some retracement before we get up there because we're not too far from overbought. But then after closing the gap, I think there's going to be a correction, and then can we make new highs again? I'm very interested in the long side of the grain complex because of the reversals at bottoms, because of the way they've just made new highs and holding on to it, and reached some resistance levels. What about wheat? We've got a bullish engulfing bottom on the wheat market on Wednesday of last week. Today we have a new high. Not a new high close, but close, I think. Not that one way or the other would matter much. No sign of any bearish activity. I'm looking for new highs again, and they move up at least to 553 3/4 to 561. And if we can get through that, then I'm looking for a move up to probably 616. And then something more, maybe. Don't overdo it. Shell, against resistance, almost overbought, super close, real close. So I think, whoops, my scaling got all goofed up in here. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, well, all right, it's got the trend lines. So forget it. Resistance level, I think it's going to stall out here and drop back down in Shell. AAPL, Apple, sideways in a support resistance area, trapped a little bit at the moment. I'm favoring the downside, so let's see if we can attack the bottom of the support and start breaking down a little bit to close the gap, and then maybe test some further lower support areas. Test of rally high, looks like it's a new high close. Strong day in Tesla, but I'm not expecting to see a lot more. At the most at the moment, 367 to test previous highs made back on June 29th. And we got NVIDIA. We have a bullish engulfing on Friday, implying the market was supposed to start to work higher, which it did today. Not very much, $1.73. Higher high, higher close, looking excellent. I am expecting 184.60, a test to the top of the market, and probably new high ground. I think this bullish engulfing should be trusted. So far, so good. Back to the MES. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.